Vince Young is here, of all places, at this moment, in the city of Saskatoon, in the Canadian province of Saskatchewan, where vivid summer storms dance across endlessly flat horizons. The land of the living skies. It's late May, and he's relaxing on a polyester couch inside a dorm room at a local university. This is an alternate football universe, a land of jarring juxtapositions. 11 years removed from winning the national championship at Texas, 40 months after he filed for bankruptcy, Young spends his nights in Birch Hall, collapsing after long workouts onto a twin bed. He's attempting to return to the sport that once defined him, that made him rich, that opened him up to ridicule and that ultimately crushed him. And that comeback starts in the Canadian Football League, where he's a backup quarterback for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. At least for now. I flew north to meet with Young after speaking to 24 of his closest friends and family members this spring. They'd offered varied theories about why he'd returned to football after a 3-year absence, motives that ranged from simplistic, he hated how his career had ended, released by the Browns, to optimistic, he dreamed of an NFL return, to skeptical, he'd recently partnered in 3 businesses, each would benefit from the publicity. Young unwraps a Subway panini in the common area adjoining his bedroom. The space is empty of belongings, except for jars of peanut butter and jelly, a package of Ritz crackers, clothes and a playbook. He is 2,000 miles from home, surrounded by teammates who, by and large, ventured to Canada after failing elsewhere. Practices are sparingly attended, 80 fans dotting metal bleachers, no security, no DJ spinning tunes. At 34, Young is no longer the phenom, and no longer the man known as invincible. His new teammates call him Graybeard. I ask him how he'd react if this experiment ended badly, if he played out the season as a backup. Or worse, if it all failed. This is to finish my career on my note, he says. Before, the NFL shut me down. Teams shut me down. Owners shut me down. I didn't stop because I wanted to. Now, I can't blame anyone but me. For his last birthday, in May, Young chose a low-key celebration in Austin, watching the NBA playoffs with friends. That fit with the narrative he's pushing. Perspective gained, pounds shed. He's here, on Memorial Day, when he could be back home, barbecuing with the millionaire UT boosters he counts as mentors, hanging out with his wife, Candace, and their 6-year-old son, Jordan. In Austin, Young is still the celebrity deemed by his Longhorns coach, Mack Brown, obviously one of the best to ever play college football. He's still the guy the Titans plucked with the No. 3 pick in 2006, who won Offensive Rookie of the Year, reached 2 Pro Bowls and went 31-19 as an NFL starter. He's still a friend to Snoop Dogg, Oprah, Matthew McConaughey, Jamie Foxx. No one can take any of that away from him. The problem is, that's only half his story. The good half. He's here, he says, to rewrite the ending, to close the disconnect between celebrity and ignominy, between rich and broke, scorned and reborn, to lift now closer to back then. The more Young talks, though, the less clear it is how far along he is in this transformation. Occasionally he sounds like the young man some of his old coaches describe as lacking self-awareness, as when he explains that he's applied to trademark the phrase "Make Vince Great Again." He says he sent a text message to the pregnant Serena Williams joking about how "that should be my baby." Even when he exposes his vulnerabilities, revealing that he's barely watched any football since he retired, he can't help but say, "I'd see a quarterback and be like, dude is garbage, and I'm over here in the kitchen cooking turkey necks." He's reminded that the Cardinals recently signed Blaine Gabbert, a first-round failure who never achieved Young's success, and he pounces, "Exactly. I hate to name drop, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is still playing. He leads the league in interceptions, and he's still getting paid. I mean, what the F is going on?" Fitzpatrick was 3rd in picks last year, but Young has a point. He goes back and forth. He is changed and unchanged, humbled and entitled, forgiving and irate, accountable until he casts blame in myriad directions. He is, like most people, full of contradictions. It's as if he's still working through the 5 stages of grief over the way his NFL career ended. He's no longer in denial, but he's still somewhat angry. Somewhere down the line, he hopes, lies acceptance. "This is all about where I was," he says, "and where I want to be." 2 weeks later, the experiment will be over. 15 years before this comeback, Young settled into another dorm room, this one on Texas's campus.